Hey, it's me, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and welcome back to another episode. And on this episode, I will be discussing, it's another update video on the 31 Days of Horror challenge I've been doing on the channel. So if you've been watching along, I did a video last week with the update, but I've been putting on Instagram, on YouTube, the photos every day. So the 31 Days of Horror challenge is you watch a horror movie every day of October in the lead up to Halloween. It could be any type of horror movie, any type of subgenre of horror, and I've been watching it. And if you know me, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, I'm not a big horror guy, if I'm being honest. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to horror movies, but I thought it'd be a really cool challenge to watch some movies I've never watched before, and just to rewatch some I've not seen in a while as well, which, you know, I've got a certain level of horror I can certainly enjoy and take in, and there's a certain level where I can't watch because I find it way too scary. But I'm going to give you a bit of a recap. So we did, last time I did up to the day 5, and now we're on day 12. So I've watched, so just a recap from last episode, I'm just going to skim through these ones. Day 1, World War Z. Day 2, The Purge. Day 3, Shaun of the Dead. Day 4, The Crazies remake. Day 5, Resident Evil. Now let's get to the next lot of movies I watched. If you didn't watch that first video, do check it out if you want to hear about my verdict on them first 5 movies I watched. So day 6, I watched the movie Evil Dead. First time watch for me, the Evil Dead. And this movie is, I didn't know what to expect, because I know some of them are horrors, some of them are comedies. This is a pure horror movie. It was very much, it's, you know, Sam Raimi directing, Bruce Campbell in the, and it's, you know, they go to this shack out in the woods, this like a cabin, that's what it's called, and then the undead come from the book, basically, from the readings of this. Is it Necronomicon? I probably just totally butchered the the name of the Book of the Dead. But I thought this was a really scary movie. It was scary, but, you know, with the I don't know if they're not zombies, are they? They're just the undead. They're kind of like, I don't know if you would call them zombies, but the undead possession, basically, in this movie. They're very scary, and, like, you know, but it was a level I could enjoy, and I wasn't, like, petrified, but it was very scary, if I'm being honest, when they were in this movie. But a really good movie, really good horror movie. I can see why a lot of people enjoy this movie. And like I said, I think it was Sam Raimi's directional debut, if I'm not wrong. And it was you can see it's very, like, low budget independent feel to it. But I think it really works really well, and, you know, for the time, for the budget, superb job of a movie, really, really good. Then you go to day 7. Day 7, I watched Evil Dead 2. You can see a little running order going on here. Evil Dead 2, so the sequel, which now leans into more horror comedy, which is bizarre, and they kind of redo. So apparently, a lot with these Evil Dead movies, they pretty much redid the story. They call this a prequel sequel, so it's kind of redoing the story of the first movie. Going to the cabin, but this time it's just him, Bruce Campbell, character of Ash, and his girlfriend, and then similar story, but this time is more flavoured in comedy horror, and they're kind of like redoing the story. So I think there was, like I said at the time, there was something to do with the rights of the movie. That's why he redone the story, because he wanted to continue it by the sound of it, something like that. I've been reading a few little things online. I enjoyed this a lot more, a bit more in my wheelhouse, because I do like a good comedy horror. I think Bruce Campbell is superb as well in the role of Ash. I want to get to that with the late stuff in a moment, but yeah, great, nails it. I think you see more of what Bruce Campbell is all about in here. You know, he really shines through, more so than the first movie. I don't feel like you got the presence so much of Bruce Campbell in that first movie as Ash. In this second movie, nails it, superb. I liked as well the way they go into, it would have been interesting at the time, what if you were watching at the cinema at the time, you've seen the first Evil Dead movie and you want to see Evil Dead 2, and it's more comedy horror, how you felt at the time. You just like a bit like, it's kind of like seeing I can really see it. It's kind of like Oppenheimer. You go and see Oppenheimer and then you go and see, there's like, years later they release Oppenheimer 2 and it's a comedy. You know, it's kind of that vibe in it. But I'd be interested to know, if you watched it at the time when it was released, what your thoughts of that, and even now what your thoughts of it shifting to horror comedy. I think it works really well. So yeah, Evil Dead 2, kind of reimagining that first movie, but I think it works really well. Moving forward, you know, with that movie, at the end of the movie, it has the tease for the third movie. and he goes into all like the undead get like sucked into this wormhole, and then it ends up he's in the Knights of Arthur, the realm of the knights, you know, knights, Arthur, King Arthur, all this, and then he's like slaying a monster, an undead monster in the time of the knights, which I thought was really cool and really, you know, my kind of jam. That leads on then to day 8 of this challenge, and I go to Army of Darkness, the third Evil Dead movie. Again, I think there was something to do with the rights here, so they had to, I don't know. I think it's weird because it kind of retells a different version of the end of the movie, the teaser, and it kind of retells the story, but I think it works. I don't think it ruins the viewing pleasure for you. I'll be honest here, this is my favourite of the trilogy. Now, I was speaking to my good buddy, Philip Coghill, who's got an awesome channel. Check it out if you haven't already. Phil mentioned to me with Army of Darkness that there is 3 different versions. Now, I think he recommended I think it was the US or the international one. They were the shorter versions. I ended up watching one on Amazon, and it was I think it was the longer one, because there's lots of different versions, different cuts. So I think this is the directional one I watched. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a solid movie. There is 2 endings, and we're going to get that to in a moment. But again, this is where Bruce Campbell as Ash just shines through. So he goes back to Knights of the Realm, the undead are there, then he becomes this hero. He has to help the knights to defeat the undead and the undead army. And it's a really, you know, this even leans in more so to horror comedy than the second one. I thought it was superb. I liked knights and stuff like that. Is really right up my street. I really like it. And it was such a fun movie. It's so silly, you know, and it's one, these were all first watches for me. I've seen bits and pieces of Army of Darkness before, but never watched it from start to finish. But I had an absolute blast. Yeah, so there's 2 endings. In the directional one I watched, it's the ending where he goes back to the future. He manages to go forward in time, but he goes too far forward. and he basically ends up in London in the future that is just all destroyed because of, you know, it's just a destroyed future London. There is a second version, which is I believe it's on the international and the US release, the ending, where it's the S-Mart ending, where he's back in the future, his own present time pretty much, and he's in the warehouse of the place he works, and then the undead arrive again, he has to take them down. I prefer, personally, that ending. I think it works better. I think it's a bit more funnier. I think it works better with the movie, but let me know your favourite ending on the Army of Darkness movie and your favourite cut as well. But yeah, really enjoy that movie. I feel like I'm going to probably rewatch that again before Halloween because I enjoyed it that much. I could just watch that again. It's just one of them films like I know I can just gel with straight away. Day 9, we go now to Renfield. This is the Nicholas Hoult, Nicolas Cage movie, Dracula and Renfield. Obviously, Renfield is the servant of Dracula, Count Dracula in this movie. And I thought it was a really good movie. I watched it, it's a comedy horror. I watched it briefly the other year and I kind of fell asleep watching it and didn't really watch it all full on. Give it a good watch. And I enjoyed it. I don't think it was an amazing movie. I'm not going to say it was the best comedy horror of all time, but I thought it was decent watch. It was funny. I thought Nicolas Cage as Dracula was superb. Really, he just nailed the performance. And I kind of thought to myself, it'd be quite cool to maybe see like a prequel movie of him as Dracula at some point. Maybe do something with that. I enjoyed it. I think for what it was, you know, it's a popcorn horror Halloween movie, not too heavy. I think it worked, Renfield. So yeah, I enjoyed the watch of Renfield. Day 10. Now, we get to a movie, Day 10, with a movie called Zombieland. I think it was released in, was it like 2009, sorry, 2009 I believe this was released. Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone. I remember it coming out at the time, and I remember a lot of people saying, this is the American version of Shaun of the Dead. You've got to watch it. I remember watching it at the time. I thought, yeah, I watched it. I thought it was fun. It's really nothing. It's got, apart from it's got zombies in it, it's not really, I wouldn't say it's an American version of Shaun of the Dead. Sure, it's a horror comedy. That's probably the only, like, comparison you can make. It's a very different movie. But I like it. You know, you got the Jesse Eisenberg's character, you know, there's a zombie apocalypse going on. the surviving. You see this big 4 characters come together, basically. These 2 sisters, Woody Harrelson's character, Tallahassee, and Columbus, played by Jesse Eisenberg. And they basically come together, survive this zombie apocalypse, and they're trying to get to this theme park, the 2 girls are, and then the 2 blokes end up going there as well. Spoilers for the movie ahead. It's a 2009 movie, so there's going to be spoilers now, ladies and gents. But yeah, it's a fun movie. I think it's cool. You've got Jesse Eisenberg's character, who's got all these different rules. He's very like OCD. He's got his rules to survive in the zombie apocalypse, like do cardio, double tap, just loads of different limber up before you going into like getting chased by a zombie. And then Tallahassee is just like this crazy sort of like a redneck character who's got kind of a warm heart to be fair by the end of it. But it ends up with this in this theme park at the end, and the zombies are all chasing them around. And I love the end battle in the theme park. I think it's great. They're like riding on fairground rides, shooting zombies and stuff. It's just so much fun. A really fun movie. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I remember watching it years ago and thought it was decent. Rewatched it and enjoyed it again. That led me to day number 11. Day 11, I decided, let's watch the sequel, which I've never seen. So Zombieland 2, Zombieland Double Tap. This was released 10 years later. Never watched it, and I've never really heard all that many reviews, if I'm being honest, on this movie. So I didn't know what to expect, whether it's going to be a good movie, a bad movie. Zombieland Double Tap, I actually thought it was better than the original. I don't know how you feel out there, if you feel it's the same, or... I thought they added a few new character additions. It's set like 10 years later. One of the young sisters, Emma Stone's character's sister in this, she wants to kind of do her own thing, meet people her own age. She goes off, and then they're going on this like rescue mission to find her at this place called Babylon, which is like this like hippie sort of a convent sort of place. And similar to the first movie, you know, it leads to this one location, and it's like this end zombie battle, which is really good. I thought the end battle was great. But I like they added a few new characters. I thought the young girl Madison was very funny. She's just like this dumb blonde, stereotypical dumb blonde character, which was hilarious. She was very hilarious. I thought she was like a standout character in the movie. Rosario Dawson, she's in this as well. I think she's good. And you know, you get Tallahassee. He wants to go to Graceland. He's got this obsession with Elvis. I like that. I think it's really good. I think the zombie fight scenes are really cool. The end scene as well, especially where they're fighting all the zombies, and then Woody Harrelson is running up this big tower. All the zombies are chasing them. They go to the top of the tower, and there's this ramp off like this like 10, 12 story building. He jumps and he grabs onto this like sort of scaffolding thing in the air, and then all the zombies just run after him, and he's sort of like this little like, you know, it's like a piñata, like swinging in the air. All the zombies just run and fall off the top of the building, fall to the ground. It's so funny. I think it's a really fun movie. Zombieland Double Tap. And I feel like it's a movie kind of maybe a lot of people missed, like myself, didn't really watch it at the time. But yeah, well worth checking out. And now, today, we get to day number 12. I was going to do it with the fingers there, but I can't do 12 fingers, can I? Unless you're like a horror sort of like villain or something, like some sort of like possession type thing where I've got 12 fingers. Day 12, I thought, it's a Halloween horror challenge. Why not go with Halloween? The 2018 sequel, legacy sequel, if you like. Going back to Jamie Lee Curtis's character, obviously the original one was like 1978, 79. And then we see Michael Myers, he's in like this asylum. He escapes the asylum, and then he goes on Halloween night. He goes to find more victims. The same locations of the first movie. Now, I will say with this, I do not have the nostalgia with a lot of people would have with Halloween and the Halloween franchise. I've only seen, to my knowledge, I've only seen the first one. I may have watched the other ones, but just, maybe I've forgotten. But yeah, like I said, never grew up watching a lot of horror movies, so I don't have that nostalgia. So for me going in, kind of very much like fresh eyes with this one, really. So people who watch it and have that nostalgia for the movie probably would have a different feel to it. I watched this movie. I thought it was decent. I didn't think it was blew me away type of movie, like a 10 out of 10. I thought it was a decent slasher movie though. I like Michael Myers in it. I like the fact that it's this guy, this older guy now, who's been in this asylum for years because of the killings he did years ago. And then he ends up getting the mask again. He escapes, and then he goes to you know, the locations where the first killings began, and then he just does the same thing as the first movie, basically. I thought, is it Laurie Schroeder? I'll probably butchered that name, and all them horror movie fans, Halloween fans are going, they got the pitchforks ready saying, "We're gonna get you, Mr. Movie Cheer. We're not gonna get you." I thought Jamie Lee Curtis in that role was really good. She's, you know, in this movie, she's kind of like very much like a character who's over the years now she's learned to defend herself. She's learned how to use guns. She's got like a basement, like all these cool gadgets. She's like Q from James Bond. She's got all like these weapons. She's prepared. It's like she's prepared for the storm, basically, of Michael Myers' return. And it ends, you know, with her daughter, her granddaughter, taking him on. And I don't want to spoil it, but I know there is 2 more movies after this, so he obviously survives, unless it's someone else donning the mask. But I enjoyed it for what it was. I think it was good. I think he is I didn't think it was like really out there scary, but there was moments. I think when he's looking out the window and you see his face in the mask, and you're like, that's scary. And I think the music as well. The John Carpenter and his son did the music for this one. He didn't direct it, but he had a hand in doing the score. And the score is great, really great. I like when the synths drop in. You got the piano outside there, do 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 do. I can't even do it properly, but when the synths go in as well, and it sounds incredible. As a guy who loves synthesizers in my music, I thought it was good. But yeah, up to day 12 now. I'm still surviving the 31 days of horror challenge. I'm going to get to day 31. We're nearly halfway through, but I'm enjoying doing these updates as well. Let me know if you're doing this challenge as well. Let me know what your thoughts are on the movies I've watched so far, some recommendations maybe that I'll see if I can get to. I'm just kind of going, as each day goes on, just looking at different movies and just seeing what's on and just watching them. It's kind of fun. It is fun watching all these new films. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video today, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who commented on the first video and got involved as well, and who's been liking, commenting on the posts. It's really cool to have the interaction. I really appreciate it. Really cool community here. Yes, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents. Remember to spread a bit of movie cheer, and as always, I will see you next time.